Hey everyone, how's it going? Cell here. Sanctum League ends tomorrow, and I wanted to make a video before that point showcasing some of the stuff I accumulated over the league. Sanctum has been one of my, okay, not one of my, but my absolute most played league ever, either in number of days or number of hours. Because of the month-long extension, I've played Sanctum more days than most leagues exist. So there's a stat for you, I guess, and it blows my previous most played league of Ritual out of the water. One of my favorite league mechanics, one of my favorite patches the game has ever had, and yeah, I think the game is in a generally really good spot right now, and I'm looking forward to Crucible in a few days. So let's take a look at some of the stuff I have accumulated. I guess, first of all, I'm going to go into Excellence next and show that it's estimating. Don't mind the net worth negative. I was doing some adjustment here downwards, removing a few items that were erroneously priced. But Excellence Next estimates that I have roughly 873 divines in my stash worth of items. So I think my title I'm going with of 800 plus is going to be accurate enough. I don't know how much a mirror is. Maybe I'll look that up. I think it was like, I'll look it up right now. Okay, I have no idea how to accurately gauge the price of a mirror, but there are quite a few in the 450 to 550 range, so you could theoretically say I have 2 mirrors worth of stuff in my stash between items and more liquid currency. But yeah, and then I think the ratio of chaos to divines is like 240 something, 250 chaos per divine. If you want to look at the cumulative chaos situation. So yeah, I'll go over the first page here and then probably go over some different items actually in game. So first page here encompasses most of what I earned, or most of the value I accumulated, if that's how you want to think of it. Let's see, going with 83, 157 chaos over that 250 range is about 332 divines if you look at this first page, and slopes off very quickly from there. I have 1,298 items in here, as you can see, so I'm not going to go through all the gumball stuff, but know that about a third to half of the total value is in this page here, and a couple of rare items. This is not including rare items, of course, because there's not really a good way to automate pricing those. It sometimes has difficulty with unique items as is. So top down here, I did get 2 Apothecary cards. One of those was completely randomly from just happening to run Haunted Mansion a lot. I did like maybe 4, no. Yeah, no, it would probably be around 400, 500 Haunted Mansion maps rolled for 24 to 30 plus pack size a piece. I was running an Infinite Harvest Sextant strat, RIP by the way, and did most of that on Haunted Mansion. I wasn't full clearing each Haunted Mansion. I was usually killing the boss, doing Harvest, grabbing Sanctum, making sure I got my scarabs from ghosts, and getting out. So I didn't really full clear. So again, completely randomly, not really going after it. I was killing a lot of enemies and had a lot of pack size and quantity as a result of how I was rolling the maps, but mostly just luck. The second one I planned on, after farming Ubers with that Sextant strategy, going back and running some Crimson Temple with a ton of the scarabs I have. Still have like a couple hundred maps worth of gilded scarabs for divination card farming. So I started on that, mostly because I wanted to make sure I ran my 5 monstrous treasure map device crafts, and I did end up getting an Apothecary from one of the 5 Monsters Treasure maps. I think it was the 3rd one. So, again, pretty lucky there. Like, you have to run a lot more than 5 on average to get that, even though Monsters Treasure with the Strongbox Sextants and all that is pretty insane. That's just how rare the cards are. That said, hopefully I can go for this next league, the full set, that is. If I don't have the resolve to finish out all 5 within league, then hopefully I can get 3 and roll those over into standard. But anyways, moving on from there, a lot of this came out of the Uber farming I was doing. Main focus was on Cyrus. I had to kill over 150 Uber Cyrus for my unique flask, and when you do that, you do some Maven invitations as well. Got a lot of Maven based loot. So 20% chance for Uber Cyrus to drop awakened support gems, so that's where these 3 have come from. 1 awakened GMP, looks like that's worth a ton. What is that, almost 30 divines? Something like that. Spell Cascade, supposedly like 20. That's fluctuated throughout the league, as I understand it, as various builds have gotten more or less popular that use Awakened Spell Cascade, namely Reap, to my knowledge. Awakened Spell Echo, I don't know where this one is used. I don't know who's playing Selfcast or where Awakened Spell Echo has a use, but I also don't remember what the actual high-level benefit of Spell Echo is beyond extra levels. Is like Final Repeat deals more damage? I think so. Or has a chance to deal double damage, something like that. Progenesis, worth a decent amount. I think that's like 14 divines, thereabouts. And some variability on this one based on the roll. Diala's Malefaction, generally a couple divines, as seen here. Storm Shroud, same deal. Tainted Divine Teardrop, I don't know how accurate that is or how much demand there is for this. There's quite a dip here, minus 16%. 7 Years Bad Luck, more cards from Apothecary based maps. That is 8/13ths of a 20th of a mirror, if that's how you want to look at that. So who knows, maybe I can farm my way to a mirror if I'm insane enough over the years plural, on this game. More awakened gems, worth more in the divine range though, instead of dozens. Oh, this is a per unit price. Yeah, I guess I wasn't looking at this the correct way. I have a ton of divines, 31 sitting in the stash. That's actually less than I thought. But it did a decent number of harvest crafts. You can see the Sacred Crystallized Life Force as well. 14 of those. I ended up getting like 20 in total because I made a couple items. Oh, one more Sacred Blossom left that I didn't do as well. Yep, and then some lower stuff down the line that's more in the like 3rd to half a divine range. Mostly like boss related stuff. I've got yeah, more awakened support gems, boss fragments, etc. I didn't know this Quickening Covenant jewel was worth anything at all. I might have some Watcher's Eyes that are worth a decent amount as well. This is one of those situations where it's probably not accurate because it might be taking an average of the listed Watcher's Eyes, and I think on average my 8 Watcher's Eyes are not worth the average amount, as dumb as that sounds, but it's just how it works when you have so few of them that there aren't really that many good mods on each individual one. Finally, looking back in game here, you'll see a couple things that weren't on the list there. I think Aureus End should have been on the list. I must have either forgotten to check or had a failure in reading my inventory on this character. But yep, finally got my Aureus End, decently rolled. This was after 1 divine, I think, rolling that. This Progenesis probably wasn't picked up either. This is near perfect. Not extremely near, but 3% reduced charges off and 1% duration was good enough for me considering the range on these rolls. This is in addition to the other Progenesis that Excellence was picking up. So I did get 2. I got my first one on like kill 54 or something, and I got this one on kill 58, I think. So yeah, I want to combine like 200 Maven plus Cyrus kills without a flask, and I was getting pretty salty, but we pulled through. Some meta crafts I talked about. I do have my amulet here. This is the first one I made with a harvest craft. I put out a video on this as well. Simple +2 fire amulet. You can do this with 1 Sacred Blossom. I used a second one to add Chaos Res, which was completely unnecessary. Or maybe I didn't. I don't remember. I must have, or I might have done Reforge Chaos instead of add remove Chaos, which is the way I'd probably suggest doing it, Reforge instead of add remove, because Sacred Blossoms are pretty rare. You can check my social notice here. I've gotten 20 blossoms from 84 beasts, so about 25%. It seems feast or famine based on who you ask. A lot of people are like, oh, I've killed 150 tier 4 beasts and I've only had one. But pretty much everybody else you ask that has more than one Sacred Blossom drop will tell you it's like 20 to 25%. So that's the number I'm sticking with until more actual data is collected and compiled. But that would be my contribution to that. Beyond that, next thing I made this for my RF character, eventually recrafted the metamod or the multi-mod setup to be trap throwing speed instead of frenzy charges, because I was using this for my explosive trap Saboteur and didn't need the frenzy charges, of course, because traps just get them from the passive tree. Then I made this alternating scepter, +2 fizz scepter, with, again, multi-mod for spell damage and trap throwing speed. This is a pretty common way to finish off an item in Soul Cellfound. You get 3 good mods and then you multi-mod it. It takes... The cost grows exponentially as you want to put more decent mods on it. So, quick rundown of how I crafted the +2 things is you roll a blue weapon with all spell skill gems, you imprint it, you regal it, and depending on the suffixes and prefixes it rolls, if any, you start to annul it to get it down to being, in my case, just the +1 spell skill gems, and then multi-modding it to guarantee the +1 fizz spells on the harvest craft. So I guess I can go to the hideout and showcase that here since I'm just standing around. Character's really slow. Let's see, add a new physical modifier, remove another random modifier. So you would craft multiple crafted mods, or 3 crafted mods rather. Prefixes cannot be changed and cannot roll caster mods. And that guarantees that the only physical mod you can add is fizz spell skill gems. So that's how I crafted this one, and then just multi-mod after that, and then I exalted it for the lightning res, which doesn't mean anything, but it could have been something, so that's the value of an exalt, I guess. And then similar deal with this one. Also finished this one off with an exalt. This is an oscillating scepter instead of an alternating scepter, because this is an elemental to chaos conversion poison build. Which makes me realize my ring didn't get picked up in Excellence Next. Oh, I think I just thought I paused my recording too and didn't. Awkward silence, I guess. Yeah, I don't think the original sin got picked up by Excellence Next, but regardless. So, original sin worth quite a chunk. Will be worth a lot in Standard, I'm sure, as it's not going to be coming into the game for a while. I assume it'll come back because they want to bring Sanctum back, but they also want to bring back Ultimatum, so who knows when they'll actually do that. Could be 3.22, could be 4.0, who knows. But yeah, so that's quite a chunk there, unaccounted for, pushing closer to the like 900,000 divine mark. Again, like 2 mirrors plus. This is a pretty good item here, Lore Weave. Now, it is only 77% max res, but I was not about to blow a bunch of divines rolling for 78% on every Lore Weave I had. I was like, alright, I'm just gonna throw some of these at the double corruption chamber and see what comes out of it. And this was the first one. No, this is the second one I corrupted. First one went rare, and I was corrupting it specifically for this character I'm on right now, and got +1 gems and 50% reduced extra damage from critical strikes. That is a pretty solid combination for such a generic item. You could use Lore Weave on a lot of builds. If I got like +1 or +2 trap skills or something, it still would have been good, just not as good, more specific to this character. Now I can use this thing for basically anything if I want to in standard. The difference between the 77% and the 78%, not that big, especially in this build because it's a Transcendence build with Eternal Damnation. So yeah, just not a big deal overall. Apart from that, mostly bunch of junk in my stash, really. Got some cards, have some decent like corruption items. Trophies, really, like, this isn't really worth anything. I just kept it because it's a decent double corruption I got from a Fall Temple or something, and it's perfect. If it was either of those things, I wouldn't have kept it, but since it's both, figured I might as well. Fragments, some leftover boss stuff, like I said. Plenty of Shaper supplies. I didn't feel like doing Uber Shaper all that much. I was really only doing Maven and Cyrus because I wanted to get the flasks in case they nerf them, so I would have a legacy version on Soul Self on standard. Some breach stuff. This is all going to get merged with the coming patch. Blessings will be nice, I'm sure, as those are becoming more rare. Bunch of scarabs, like I said, a couple hundred maps worth of stuff between like conversion and upgrading into Gilded for like Ambush, Divination, Harbinger, and something else. Ambush, no, Abyss, that's what I was saying. Yep, Delve, I did no Delve this league whatsoever. This is all from other stuff, for the most part. Prime Chaotic Resonators, those must be from Tujin, if I had to guess. Oh, I didn't talk about the foil. I have a foil Ventur's Gamble. Actually, let me get on my other character real quick. Now, this is the real deal for a Ventur's Gamble. 32 net res, minus 18, but plus 50. 50 life, 9 quantity, perfect rarity, and it's foil. So I'm like, okay, yeah, this is pretty solid as far as I'm concerned in terms of a foil item. So nice to have the foil Ventors just for the extra flex. So I got a handful of reliquary keys. I don't know if you can search by foil here. You cannot, but I've got a handful of other foil uniques as well. I mean, this one's from a Cyrus reliquary key, but similar deal, I guess. Wanderlust, that was my first. Voidborn reliquary key I opened. And yeah, there's some other insignificant stuff. Soul Mantle. Nothing big, but the Ventors are kind of good for the meme potential, I guess. I did some Uber Eater as well. 15 of them based on how I count it down here. Nothing super insane. I've got one Forbidden Flesh. It's my only Forbidden Jewel I've ever had, and it's not super great, but you never really expect to assemble a set in Solo Self-Found anyways. More Corrupted Lore Weaves, all white, 78. Not a huge deal. Bunch of Invocations. Okay, not a bunch. 7. I don't think I used any. Actually, I used one. Not on this character, though. And it wasn't, like, build enabling. It was just It was for Iron Will. I'm like, okay, this is going to be a little bit of extra damage, not a big deal. Did a decent amount of delve because I got the those alternate base types I mentioned earlier. Got some alternate quality gems. We'll probably lean more into that next league along with many other things. Crafting stuff, I have no idea what's in here. Mostly synthesized bases, it looks like. I did do some Uber Cortex, I think about 5 or 6 runs. It's not that bad, really. It's the only Uber boss I've done deathless first try. The only bad part is getting to the boss. I do have another original scripture that I'm not going to run because I don't feel like it. I already have an original sin, and unless something really dumb happens and I lose it, it's just unrealistic that I ever lose it. So the only thing that second one would be good for is corruption. Get like bleed immunity or something, but honestly the implicit of chaos res is already good enough on its own. So I feel like you'd rather just, if you're going for a bleed immunity implicit or something, you'd rather go for it on a rare ring or a more common unique ring that is fitting into your build anyways. So I'm just not going to bother. I did have, so I got a total of 5 original scriptures this league, I believe. I ran a ton of Sanctum. One of my favorite league mechanics ever. Failed my first 2. I had 3. I failed my first 2 and then hunkered down. Managed to pull it out the 3rd run. Then I ran a 4th one that failed on floor 4 to some bad movement against the skull laser beams. And this is my 5th one. So, yep, really only 25% success rate there, which is unfortunate, but the important part is I succeeded eventually, I guess. Ton of sextants. I definitely need to be better about using these. I was really focused on certain things this league that I didn't really ever circle back to using more of these. And a lot of the logic is like, if you're just going to roll over them anyways, would you pay a chaos in Soul Self-Found to have 4 essences added to your maps in total? In my opinion, yeah, probably, right? So I just went ahead and put them in a compass. So I'll probably do similar stuff like that next league, but I'm hoping to crank on the efficiency a little more. You know, once you get experience past a certain level, you tend to want to go faster, and I'm kind of at that point now. Taken down hundreds of Uber bosses, had done none prior to this league. So I'm getting more into the endgame type of stuff and wanting to grind for some more stuff, so I'm wanting to get to that point more quickly. Some other boss drops here. Got a couple calls of the void. I made a self-chill Spark Inquisitor at one point. That was pretty good. Some corruption things here. Nothing really of too much note. Balance of Terrors, I did get a cooldown recovery temp chains one and a wither on hit despair one. So those are the 2 I was after. Can't talk today. I didn't get them together, unfortunately, but that's obscenely rare anyway, so I wasn't counting on it. Watcher's Eyes, I think I have a couple decent ones here, but nothing too extreme, really. Damage over time, Malevolence, and Crit Chance, Hatred. This one's pretty solid, but it could really use some Harvest Beast crafting, I think. With probably really just taking away the dot multi for something else, because you could use this on an Inquisitor build, for example, already. The extra increased damage taken plus the Hatred crit chance. Actually, I didn't realize that rolled up to 1.8%. Might just divine this and call it good if I ever use it, but could not as well, considering it's going to standard. Lycia drops, more Balances of Terror, they aren't that good. Eternal Damnation, I'll have a ton of these if I want to corrupt them or just roll them in general on standard. I did not get the staff the white wind or something like that. Unfortunately, but yeah, maybe when it comes back. I mean, I ran a ton of Sanctum, like I said, so just comes down to luck at the end of the day. And just for any doubters, 2 Apothecary cards here. I mean, I guess I could gamble them as well. But on the off chance that I end up wanting to play Standard next league, I suppose I'll keep them around, and I'm not really the gambling type anyways. Anyways, that is probably going to be the end of the video for now. If you thought it was interesting or want to see more content like this, let me know in the comments down below and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.